I'm 30, working in tech in Seattle, and I recently learned a brutal lesson about trust and loyalty. My ex-girlfriend, Sarah, decided to throw away our relationship during a dream vacation I paid for, thinking she could keep me as her fallback plan. Spoiler, she miscalculated big time. Sarah and I had been together for 2.5 years. She's 27, works part-time at a trendy coffee shop, and while she wasn't exactly chasing big career goals, she had a vibrant energy that I found charming. I earned a solid income, so I didn't mind covering most of our expenses. Rent, dinners, weekends away. She'd toss in a little cash now and then, but I was the one keeping our lifestyle afloat. For her birthday, I wanted to do something special, so I planned a week-long trip to Maui, Hawaii. She'd been dropping hints about wanting a beach getaway, and I thought it'd be the perfect way to reconnect. I booked a stunning oceanfront suite at a luxury resort, complete with all the bells and whistles. The trip cost me around $7,000, but I wanted it to be unforgettable. Sarah was thrilled when I surprised her, immediately diving into Pinterest to plan her outfits and research island activities. I handled all the logistics, flights, hotel, rental car, and added Sarah as an authorized user on one of my credit cards so she could cover any extras, like cocktails or souvenirs. I trusted her to keep things reasonable. We both needed this break. Work had been intense, and Sarah had been grumbling about our routine feeling stale. A week in Hawaii seemed like the perfect reset. We flew out on a Sunday, and the first couple of days were paradise. The resort was breathtaking, think infinity pools and sunset views. We spent our time swimming, sipping Mai Tais, and enjoying candlelit dinners. Sarah seemed genuinely happy, and I felt like we were in a good place. But by Tuesday, something shifted. She was glued to her phone, even during our beach walks. When I asked what was up, she brushed it off, saying she was just updating her Instagram with vacation pics. It felt off, but I let it slide. On Wednesday, Sarah wanted to go on a snorkeling tour in Lahaina. I wasn't keen on it. I'd been looking forward to chilling by the pool, but she was insistent. We compromised. She'd join the tour group and I'd stay back for some. When she returned that evening, she was buzzing with energy, chatting nonstop about the coral reefs but avoiding eye contact. She kept sneaking glances at her phone, grinning at texts. I asked about her day, but her answers were vague and she seemed distracted. First warning sign. Thursday, things got weirder. Sarah announced she wanted to explore Waikiki alone for some shopping and sightseeing. I wasn't thrilled about playing tourist, so I stayed at the resort, lounging by the pool. She was gone for hours, 7 to be exact, and came back with just a single souvenir keychain. At dinner, she barely engaged, tapping away at her phone and giving one-word answers. When I called her out, she snapped, accusing me of being clingy. We ended up arguing right there in the restaurant, which was a first for us on this trip. Friday was our last full day, and I hoped we could patch things up. But Sarah had other plans. She wanted to go on a catamaran cruise with another tour group. I was fed up but didn't want to fight again, so I let her go. She left at 11 a.m. and didn't check in all day. No texts, no calls, nothing. By dinner time, I was worried. I tried calling, but her phone went straight to voicemail. At 10 p.m., I got a text. She'd met some cool people from the cruise and was grabbing drinks in town. She'd be back late and told me not to wait up. I was annoyed but figured she was just letting loose after our argument. Saturday morning, we were set to check out and catch our afternoon flight home. I woke up to an empty room. Sarah's suitcase was still there, but she was gone. I called and texted, nothing. The hotel staff hadn't seen her since the previous day. By noon, we'd missed checkout, and I was starting to think something bad had happened. Then, at 2 p.m., I got a text that turned my world upside down. Sarah said she'd met someone amazing and was staying in Hawaii to see where it goes. She apologized, but said she'd sort out her own way home. I read it over and over, stunned. My girlfriend of 2 years had ditched me on the trip I paid for to chase some guy she'd just met. The nerve was unreal. I called her, but it went to voicemail. I left a message, furious, asking what she was thinking. No response. I texted, demanding an explanation. Silence. Later that evening, she sent another message. She'd met someone who made her feel free in a way she hadn't in years. She asked me not to contact her and said she'd reach out when she was ready. The betrayal was staggering. Not only had she cheated, but she was acting like I should just roll over and accept it. I spent that night in the hotel room, torn between anger and disbelief. Part of me wanted to find her and confront her. Part of me wanted to just leave. But mostly I was done being her doormat. By Sunday morning, I made my choice. Our flights were that afternoon, and Sarah clearly wasn't coming. If she wanted to chase this new guy, I'd let her do it without my support. First, I called my credit card company and removed Sarah as an authorized user. They confirmed no further charges would go through. Then I contacted the airline and canceled her return flight, which was under my name. It was a same-day cancellation, so I only got a small credit, about $75, but it was worth it. If Sarah was starting her new life in Hawaii, she could figure out her own way back. I packed up her stuff, left it with the hotel concierge for her to pick up, and took my flight home alone. On the plane, I didn't feel heartbroken, just free. Sarah had shown her true colors, and I was better off without her. Back in Seattle, I kept things quiet, not ready to share the story yet. Monday morning, Sarah's texts started rolling in. Her card was declined, and she was freaking out, asking why it wasn't working. I ignored her. By afternoon, she'd learned she was no longer an authorized user and that her flight was canceled. Her messages turned desperate. "How am I supposed to get home? This isn't fair." That evening, she called, sobbing, saying she was stranded in Hawaii with no money and no way back. I calmly explained that since she'd chosen to stay with her new guy, I assumed she didn't need my help anymore. I was just respecting her decision. She lost it, calling me heartless and accusing me of abandoning her in a foreign place. She admitted the guy she'd met was a bust, just a tourist looking for a fling, not a commitment. She begged to come home and fix things. I told her she'd made her bed when she cheated instead of talking to me about whatever issues she had. Actions have consequences. She hung up, but the texts kept coming, apologies, excuses, even threats. I ignored them all. Her mess, her problem. A couple of weeks later, I heard through friends that Sarah had made it back to Seattle. She'd had to call her older sister to wire money for a hotel and a new flight. Her sister wasn't thrilled about bailing her out, especially after hearing the full story. Apparently, Sarah's dream guy ghosted her when she started talking about staying in Hawaii long-term. With no money, no flight, and no romance, she was forced to face the reality of her choices. She spun a sob story to friends, claiming I'd stranded her after a mutual breakup, conveniently leaving out the part where she cheated. Most people saw through it, especially after noticing her social media posts gushing about her new adventure, until it all fell apart. Sarah tried reaching out a few times after that, saying she'd learned her lesson and wanted to try again. I didn't respond. Why bother? She only wanted me back because her plan crashed and burned and she missed my financial support. A month later, I ran into her at a coffee shop in Capitol Hill. She looked worn out, like life had been rough. She tried to start a conversation, but I grabbed my coffee and left. I later heard she'd moved back in with her sister and was picking up extra shifts at the coffee shop to cover bills. Losing my support hit her hard. Meanwhile, I'm doing great. I took a solo trip to Colorado with the money I would have spent on Sarah, hiked in the Rockies, stayed in a killer cabin, the works. I've started dating again and met someone who values me and doesn't take me for granted. This whole mess taught me to set boundaries and demand respect. Sarah thought she could cheat and still keep me as her safety net. When I pulled that net away, she realized what she'd lost. Some friends thought my response was cold, but I see it as fair. She made a deliberate choice to betray me on a trip I funded. I just let her live with the outcome. If you're going to throw away a relationship for a stranger, you'd better be ready to handle the fallout. Sarah wanted excitement and independence, so I gave it to her. No backup, no safety net. She got exactly what she asked for, just not how she imagined it.